we're certainly pleased to be joined by former Cleveland Indian pitcher, co-host of VSIN's By the Books, which airs every morning, 7 to 10 Eastern, and he's the analyst this weekend for ESPN for the Morgantown Regional. Jensen Lewis is our guest. J. Lou, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, guys. Great to see you this afternoon, and excited to get this thing going tomorrow afternoon as well.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here in Morgantown, and let's just start there. Your first time over at the Kendrick Family Ballpark. You walked away from today's practice session saying what about the stadium?
Chamber of Commerce weekend in effect here, guys. This is great. As a native Ohioan, we've been nothing but a deluge of water and rain for the last several weeks, so nice to see sunny skies and 70 degrees, and it looks like the ballpark will play pretty fairly. Talking with you guys there, just kind of getting the lay of the land, how the ball travels, especially to left field, and kind of where some of those hitters, especially from the left side, might be having an opposite field approach. Definitely a key to watch for the three visiting ball clubs. But let's face it, it's all about the Mountaineers getting that host position and knowing what those percentages are when you are those national hosts, and what that conversion rate is, not only getting to super regionals, but also having the opportunity to move on to Omaha. Off to a good start here as the one seed here for Morgantown.
Well, let's say that. You have given that stat, and I purposefully did not say it yet tonight. I saved it for you. It was your stat. So let's go ahead, give us that number, and then let's start there. Let's start with the hometown Mountaineers and what you see for them and what is considered, Jensen, I think you'd agree, one of the more difficult regionals across the country. So kind of handicap it from a West Virginia perspective.
Yeah, no question. Just overall, guys, when you look at regional hosts advancing to super since 1999, 66% of those regional hosts do advance, and then 70% of super regional hosts advance to the World Series. Now, obviously, that would entail UCLA being matched up here with the number 16 Morgantown Regional, having to bow out there, and then obviously as a national seed, West Virginia would have the inside track should they move on here through the weekend to be able to host there for a super. But first things first, regional winners who win their opening game are 93%. So if you are one of those teams that not only goes 1-0, 82% of regional winners started 2-0. So that all-important win, not only in game one, but then in the nightcap there at 5 p.m. on Saturday, being able to win that 1-0 game, that puts you in the driver's seat here, at least by the percentages. Now, as far as the club goes, we obviously know it to be Jansen Cole tomorrow, and then Max Yale will get the start there on Saturday. And I got to tell you guys, and you've watched plenty of it here throughout the year, it's built on pitching, it's run suppression, and it's being able to close games out. And with that last 10 games and a pretty stellar record here at 8-2, obviously falling to Kansas there in the Big 12 tournament, you feel that momentum is on Steve Saban's side here. This club feels confident. Talking with some of the players today, there is a calm composure, but I think a confident one. And why not? With what it looks like from a fan base perspective, guys, we are in for a treat, especially for the hometown advantage.
So, just give us a quick look at the other three teams in this regional, starting with the one West Virginia will face tomorrow in Binghamton.
Yeah, I think, honestly, when you look at where Tim Sinicki's club is, this is the team that I had last year in the Athens regional, and this is a club that's been to regionals 3 of the last 5 years. They were the regular season champions in the America East and also in the tournament. And so it's a club that not only is going to have some resistance, from the pitching side, you're going to see a pretty high velocity guy tomorrow in Connor Griffin. And some have said, and I think even Coach Sinicki had told us in our meeting today, all 30 major league clubs have had at least a scout in to see, this guy and this ace, the Friday night guy here for Binghamton. So not exactly the biggest command guy, but the stuff is certainly there. And I think that's the challenge, is being able to kind of drive up the pitch count a little bit of Connor Griffin and then be able to get into what is a little bit leaner bullpen here for the Bearcats. So as long as West Virginia can get out to a little bit of an early lead, or at least try and drive up a pitch count there, I think they have the upper hand. And Binghamton will certainly need to try and find some early offense of their own to be able to close it out.
You know, that's really interesting, Jensen, and you know this well, being a former big league pitcher yourself, but that's why, and we've heard Steve Saban's talk about it. He talked about it today in his press conference about the respect you have to show every opponent, because baseball's so driven by that guy on the bump, and you just mentioned it. They're going to bring a guy out there that has great stuff, and that could change the game in any moment. So just because you haven't heard of Binghamton necessarily, you got to respect the guy that they're rolling out there to start this tournament.
Yeah, and I would say the top of their lineup too, guys. Everything starts with Matt Bolton there. He probably had a great candidacy to be Player of the Year in the America East, but it's certainly that top. Only 3 guys returning from the regional squad that went to Georgia last year. Bolton, one of them, Mike Strelricht, an infielder, and then Zach Kent, who might be in for Sean Sweeney. A tough injury over the tournament here for Sweeney as he was trying to leg out a ground ball, and sounds like he's going to try and gut it out for tomorrow. 60-40 is what Tim Sinicki put the percentage that we will see Sean Sweeney in the lineup tomorrow. But he kind of chuckled when he said, those Long Island guys, they call them Strong Island for a reason. And so Sean Sweeney going to give it a go there, and what will probably be as necessary as anything. They'll need all hands on deck to try and counter this great Mountaineer pitching staff.
Jensen Lewis, ESPN baseball analyst, he's on the call this weekend here in Morgantown, is our guest. All right, give us a quick overview of the first game tomorrow. Kentucky and Wake, I think the theme continues. You're going to see some dudes on the hill tomorrow for both teams.
You are, and the dude that's going for Wake Forest might be the biggest arm in the tournament. Chris Lavonis, one of the top arms in the ACC, leads the conference with 10 wins. Guys, speeds up to 101 miles an hour on the fastball. Second highest average fastball velocity at 96.9 to the injured phenom for Oregon State, Dax Whitney, who's at a clean 97 flat. It is big-time power stuff. He's going to come at you with a flourish, and it's also a very athletic lineup. Guys, I think the biggest thing to take away from looking at Wake Forest on paper, and even talking about it with Dalton Wentz, one of their star infielders, and Cade Lewis as well, both those guys kind of alluded to the fact that there wasn't a lot of slug for them maybe in the first half to first 2/3 of their season, but boy, have they come on in a big way, and the power and the homers have really come here in the last 20 games or so. So I think that's a theme to watch. And then on the flip side here with Kentucky, guys, you're looking at a bubble team that if you ask Coach Nick Mingione, they've been as competitive as any SEC team this year. And, it's going to be a decision between, do they want to run Jackson Jelkin out there, who's been a phenom in his own right? Nate Harris, who has come back here as of late, was a Friday night starter for them, had missed 3 weekends, and then came back on a Sunday in Gainesville. Unfortunately, didn't have his best outing, but has looked really good here the last couple of weeks. So we'll see if it is Jelkin who may be going tomorrow. But I think that rotation in and of itself, if we get that matchup between Jelkin and Lavonis, guys, on paper, I don't know if there's a better pitching matchup for day one than what we'll have at high noon there, watching those two teams go at it.
So, Jensen, just the third time West Virginia has ever hosted a regional, only the second time in the last 70 years. So we know there's going to be a lot of energy in the ballpark tomorrow. How does a team use that but not overuse that?
Well, I think that's the beauty of college baseball, right? You feed off the home field advantage. And as a Vanderbilt grad myself and an alum there, we were on the ground floor of really building the program into where it was, and kind of sit back jealously and watch all those regionals and super regionals go through Tim Corbin's club there in Nashville. A decided home field advantage, guys, and you know it from the Big 12 conference weekends. When you have that place packed and you have that kind of energy, and it's going to be all the way up the hills. We're going to see standing room only. You're going to see a boatload of Mountaineer fans, not only tomorrow night, but you hope for an opening, win and be able to set up a 1-0 game there on Saturday evening with an even better turnout. So excited to see how they manage it. I'm going to go back to, something that Max Yale alluded to us, and you guys know this is a hockey guy as a young kid, and that controlled aggression or maybe that borderline, a little psycho coming out when he needs it. I think that's a great thing to take away, is that he's been able to harness that energy. He's been able to put it into what has been just a stellar campaign. And if if West Virginia pitches the way that they have, especially down the stretch, and even for the body of work guys this year, they should be in the driver's seat headed into Saturday night and eventually into Sunday.
Yeah, it's a great point, Jensen. And you know from looking at this is not a deep staff. They haven't used a bunch of guys, but the 5 or 6 that they've used most consistently have all been elite this season. They've been fantastic. I know we got to let you run here in just a minute. You've got some meetings coming up here. Before we let you go, though, as a former big leaguer yourself, you have a great eye for what it takes to get to the next level. Give us your take, without watching him live yet, but what you've seen so far and you've watched of Gavin Kelly, his versatility, and he's really burst on the scene. Baseball America had it out a couple weeks ago as the number 1 prospect for the 2027 draft. What do you think of Gavin Kelly?
Man, what an incredible player, but maybe even a better person. And getting the chance to talk to him today, just effusive in his praise for his teammates, but also, to hear Coach Saban talk about just his incredible versatility. You can put him anywhere. I think Max Yale even said he's a freak and he doesn't even know it. And I think that is one of the great compliments of what he's able to do. Middle of the lineup bat, someone that you lean on, and a faith-based guy too. I took that away myself as someone who is grounded not only in his faith, but helps really drive his confidence on the field. So an incredible person, a great player, and I think an X factor. Again, we look for stars here as we get to the postseason in college baseball. If your stars perform, you're most likely headed to the middle of America. So first things first, out of the gates tomorrow night with the win, but excited to see what this lineup can do here at home.
Well, perfectly said, my friend. And again, it was nice to meet you this morning. I've said before, I'm a big fan of your morning show on VSIN with Dave Ross, 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time, so we encourage folks to check that out. Welcome to Morgantown. We hope you enjoy your stay, and we'll certainly see you at the ballpark this weekend, and we appreciate you making time for us tonight.
Fantastic. You guys have a great one, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow as well.
All right. Thanks, Jensen. There he is, Jensen Lewis checking in. He'll be on the call tomorrow for ESPN.